Hi, my name is Coach Mary Beth, and my students call me Coach MB, and today we're going to learn how to ice skate. So, first things first, when you get to the ice rink, I want you to make sure your ice skates are tied correctly. All right, you are going to make sure that they are tied tight around the ankles, and if you're unsure, ask a coach that is there. If you're doing group classes or if you have a private lesson, ask them to double check it, or if you're at a public skate, just go to the front desk. I'm sure someone there probably has skated before, and just to get reassurance that you've tied them tightly and correctly. So now, after you've done that, we are on the ice. The first goal is you're going to step onto the ice and just stand still. That is the literal first step of skating, is if you can just stand on the ice and not move. That is what you want to do. People get these really crazy and wild falls because they step on the ice and they try instantly start going and they are all over the place. Just try and stay put. So once you've done that and we've gotten our balance, even if it takes you a while, that's fine. You have your balance. You want to be by the wall, that's fine. Just, we are still. Next, I want you to be here. You're going to actually have your hands out. And what we are going to do is to have a little soft knee, bend in our knee, and we're going to try and stay in that non-moving position. So when we shift our weight down a little bit, we want to not move. Right? Sometimes we'll bend and people will end up going back, or we just want to just bend ever so lightly. And then the biggest thing with skating is you have to understand it's not walking. All right, it's not like heel toe, right? That is not how skating works. I want you to just think how you're like flat feet, like you're on stilts, basically. That is how we are going to start skating, and that brings us to our third step, which is marching. So after we've stood still, have a little soft bend in your knee, I want you to pick up one foot from your hip and down. And that's a really big point, is you want to lift from your hip and down, like this. You don't want to like pick up your foot, because that is going, or like pick up your whole body with that lift, because that again is going to cause a volatile change of motion. And if you're already unsteady and unsure, that's just going to increase your kind of like panic. And then you're going to kind of maybe slip and fall back, or just feel that adrenaline rush of not knowing what you're doing. So that is not how ice skating has to be. It can be very calm and very fun, and we are going to make sure that is your experience. So we're going to make sure here, we're going to lift from our hip and down. Here, lift from your hip and down, from there. And then from there, you should be able to slowly do that and inch your way forward. Truly make sure you understand, it is not heel toe, like how we walk. It's not like that. Now, you're like, well, yeah, that's fine. I want to glide. Well, I want to make sure you can march first and pause. And I want to make sure all of that is set before we really start focusing on the gliding part. So, like I said, we're here, we're balanced, and we did our marches and pause. If you can do all of that, if you can do like march, march, pause, and then redo it, march, march, pause, and then redo it, march, march, pause. And if you're good to go, that's awesome. Before we even start gliding, if you're in group classes or anything like that, private lessons, I hope that your instructor has taught you how to fall, because that is truly the most important thing in skating. Is it is bound to happen. You are going to fall, and you need to know how to fall correctly and safely. So when you fall, you want to basically collapse down. Like you want to bend your knee, reach your hands for the ice. So you have your hand bend and go to your side like this. And then when you get up, you put one knee down and then you stand up like that. So a lot of times people, they'll feel themselves starting to fall and they'll start going backward, and they start like trying to brace themselves and putting their hands up here, like thinking that's going to help them. And they get these like wide motions, and you want to basically compress yourself and get your hands down to the ice. So hands down the ice and like crunch, and then you can, fall however you're going to fall. But as long as you use your hands and try and reach for the ice and try not to go backwards or, aggressive forward, like if you just try and bend, it will be fine. And once you've done that, then we can start gliding. So we're going to go back to that standstill position, bending our knees in those march positions. And now I told you guys to pause beforehand. After you pause, I'm going to have you make that a 2-foot glide now. So we're going to go march, march, glide. So I'll do it facing this way. So you see, so it's going to go march, march, glide. And that's how it starts. So right, we'll be here. We're going to go march, march, glide. And then march, march, glide. All the way to wherever you're going. If you're in group classes, you'll probably be using the ice side to side like this. So you want to practice that all the way down and back a couple of times. So we're going to go march, march, glide. march, march, glide. And as you start doing that, you'll start to see you're going to be able to start pushing and rocking a little bit and starting to glide as you step forward. And that's a good thing. That's what's going to happen as a natural progression of the steps if you're stepping correctly and doing all this right. So basically, that is really the foundation of all of your skating. The last thing, if you want to add anything else before we move on to like, next thing would really be swizzles and then 1 foot glides, but that will be for another day. But basically, after you do that march, march, glide and getting that good 2 foot glide, and getting a good 2 foot glide, now we'll get some speed into it and we glide for a long time. We're going to add a little dip. So if you can change where your center of gravity is and your body weight when you're gliding and can come up without falling, that's another great win. So you're going to go march, march, glide, and then dip. And you're going to sit in a chair. So I'm going to go march, march, glide, dip, and then stand back up and go back to that balanced position, and then I repeat. So I'm going to go march, march, glide, 2 foot glide, and then stand up. And you're going to do that all the way down and back. And I promise you guys, if you do those steps, you will get faster and faster, and it will become very easy and very fun activity to do. So stay tuned. I will have more videos of how to get yourself skating, and I hope this helps. Bye.